Because of the wide variety of cannabinoids in nature and within the ECS, cannabis can be helpful for just about everything that ails you. While much more research is still needed, many studies have found that cannabinoids can interact with the endocannabinoid system to reduce pain, anxiety, inflammation, can help treat nausea, autoimmune conditions, and much more. There are hundreds of cannabinoids that have been discovered. Only a handful are found in significant amounts in the cannabis plant, and even fewer have been researched adequately. Cannabis manufacturers have started to take note of the specific cannabinoids, along with the therapeutic properties reported by consumers, to create products that with more targeted and balanced effects, rather than just getting high off of THC products aimed at getting you stoned. Remember, each person's endocannabinoid system responds differently, so the exact nature of a cannabinoid's effects on you might be different than me because of our different ECS. Now, let's start with the most popular phytocannabinoid, delta-9 THC, or commonly known as THC. This very popular cannabinoid is known for activating the CB1 receptor in the brain. It's the main intoxicating component of cannabis. The effects of THC can increase blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, or the thinking part of the brain, which is responsible for decision-making, attention, your motor skills, and other executive functioning. When THC mimics anandamide in the brain and binds to CB1 receptors, it inhibits the release of certain neurotransmitters and stimulates the release of some, like dopamine, and this can evoke feelings of euphoria and also help relieve pain. We know this is getting high, right? And while getting high can be enjoyable for some of us in the room, other individuals don't tolerate THC very well at all, or the wrong dose or the wrong setting can be very uncomfortable for individuals while they're high on THC. Next, we have THCA, or tetrahydrocannabinolic acid. This is one of the most common cannabinoids found in raw cannabis, therefore all cannabis. Right? As we mentioned in our last lesson, the carboxylic precursors like THCA are non-intoxicating until they're converted into the other cannabinoids, their neutral form, through decarboxylation or eventual oxidation. Almost everyone's familiar with THC, particularly if you're taking this class. But THCA also has potential benefit for treating inflammation, nausea, vomiting, and nervous system degeneration. In other words, autoimmune conditions in the nervous system. Unlike THC, THCA will not get you high. While CBD has gained popularity recently for its anti-inflammatory, anti-anxiety, and anti-epileptic properties, many claim that CBD is non-psychoactive, and that's just not the right word to use. Sure, CBD doesn't produce the same intoxicating effects like THC, but it's still psychoactive even though it doesn't get you high. There was a study done evaluating a large dose of CBD, nearly 900 milligrams, given to individuals before speaking in public. They found that CBD had a tremendous calming effect, allowing people to speak more freely. So, there's proof that CBD is psychoactive. But it doesn't work the same way as THC. CBD is not strongly attracted to the CB1 and CB2 receptors of the endocannabinoid system. Instead, CBD interacts with other receptors as well as enzymes to increase levels of anandamide and activate the receptors in other systems like dopamine and serotonin. Moving on to CBG, or cannabigerol, this is the decarboxylated form of CBGA. CBGA is the mother molecule of all cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. They're all made from this same molecule. CBG, the decarboxylated form, is active, but it doesn't bind strongly to CB1 and CB2 receptors, but has a pretty interesting action at a receptor called alpha-2. Alpha-2 is important for attention and energy levels. It's part of our fight or flight system. So by activating CBG, we may have a calming or relaxing effect. Researchers are continuing to study CBG for its potential benefit to stimulate bone growth, stimulate appetite, reduce anxiety, and improve attention. Next, we move to CBN, cannabinol. This is the degraded form of THC and is commonly referenced as a potent sleep aid. As THC breaks down, it can convert into CBN. You can find this in many products marketed for sleep, however, the science to support its use is still unsettled. More research is needed to know if CBN is particularly useful for sleep or the fact that it's often found alongside THC, which has known sleep-inducing qualities. Some studies have shown that CBN is also helpful for fighting pain, can combat bacterial infection, is good against inflammation and other skin disorders as well. One last phytocannabinoid we want to talk about in this lesson is called delta-8 THC. Earlier we talked about delta-9, regular THC. Delta-8 is a close relative, but differs by the placement of a double bond in its chemical structure. Both cannabinoids can technically be found in the cannabis sativa plant, but the plant really only produces delta-9. Any delta-8 being produced is simply because the sun's UV radiation has started to degrade delta-9 into another form, delta-8. It's not produced in significant amounts in the plant. However, since 2018 in the United States, it's very commonly being produced from CBD isolate, which is now legally sold according to the 2018 Farm Bill. Delta-8 products are available in many states in just about every form that you can think of. You've got gummies, chocolates, candies, cookies, tinctures, vapes, infused drinks, and any other edible stuff that you can think of. The more important thing to note though is if delta-8 is being manufactured from CBD, it will still have similar psychoactive properties to delta-9, albeit slightly less potent. But delta-8 will absolutely get you high, even though it's made from hemp. So, there's a lot more research that needs to be done about the therapeutic effects of delta-8 or delta-9, but we know that delta-8 works similarly in the endocannabinoid system, stimulating the CB1 and CB2 receptors. It could be helpful, but there are serious safety concerns around the unregulated nature of the hemp-derived delta-8. Delta-8 has to be made from CBD, and in that process, there are some unknowns still. If you're recommending cannabis to others, then you have to understand the properties of each cannabinoid and how they'll work synergistically with one another and with the terpenes in the cannabis product and even flavonoids to produce different effects, different feelings for different people. To learn more about cannabinoids, how they work with the endocannabinoid system, make sure to download our free handbook where you can learn more about all these different cannabinoids, their functions, and the ECS.